Recently, I was at a friend's house and everyone was sitting at the dining room table eating from a bowl of pistachios. And they're like, "Oh, do you want some?" I'm like, "Sure." So I'm kind of like carefully picking away at the shells. And I go, "I've always been really scared to eat pistachios." And everyone's like, What do you mean you're scared to eat pistachios?" And I say, "Well, it's kind of like Russian roulette. You never know when you'll get one that has a worm in it or something." Everyone kind of stops eating and they look at me and they're like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, like when there's a worm inside the pistachio. No one knew what I was talking about. And I'm like, well, when I was a kid growing up, my mom would always be eating from a bowl of pistachios and she'd be munching on one and she'd be, I'm sorry. Yeah. She'd be munching on one and then she'd say, "Oh, yuck, that one was a little wormy." And I was like, "Oh my God, what do you mean?" And she'd say, "Oh, there's just a little worm in that one, I guess." So for my whole life, I was like, "Oh God, why do people choose to eat pistachios if every other nut that you eat, it has a worm in it? That's terrifying." So everyone looks at me and they're like, "No, that doesn't happen. That's not a thing." And I'm flabbergasted because my whole life, this is what my mom had told me. I asked her about it once and she had no idea what I was talking about.